as I leave this southern town. Sun to my back, my head to the ground. Too many miles gone, too many to go to my old life in New Mexico.
That, my friend, was Matt Sullivan, believe it or not. Doesn't he sound great?
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. So we heard Matt last week as well. He sang a song called Nature's Will. That's a song called New Mexico. And I didn't give Matt enough credit when we were introing the show last week. He's a really talented musician, amateur, though easily could be pro, I believe. He is out and about playing in Columbus, Ohio these days. He and I had a conversation a couple years ago about doing creative work and using it to balance the rest of our work. And he's living it. He got out last year and is getting out regularly this year. I encourage anybody who likes that sound, and it's quite varied. There's some disco tunes, believe it or not, on Matt's unreleased music collection. And I encourage you to follow him on Instagram at Matt Sullivan Music, and look for that in the social media post for this episode. So yeah, thank you very much for sharing your music with us, Matt. Matt is a river rat like Stephanie, a longtime river rat, and has become a good friend. So, hey, Steph.
Jeff.
Sorry, you were about to say something?
What's the name of his band?
Black River Gypsies.
There it is.
Yeah. Though I don't know if he's playing with the Black River Gypsies these days, but I know that there's some really cool music on three albums of original that he shared with me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Awesome. Yes, we've known Matt and Heather a long time. They've brought a lot of watery joy to our world, and it's great to hear them.
Yeah. All right. Okay. It's Sunday. I'm in Philly. You are in upstate New York.
Here at the river.
Holding it down. But I do want to ask you, what's something boaty from your week?
I don't really know. It's March, which is 1 month closer to boaty season. I had a little bit of like a ridiculous boaty panic in the last week because it got really warm here, and then I was like, I have to put the boats in. And then I called people to put them in, and they said, did you charge your batteries? And I was like, no, I didn't do that. So I will call it a false start, but that's fine. So
do you think
learn.
Do you think that they rolled their eyes?
Oh my God, I think they were rolling their eyes really, really far back in their heads. Yeah, I hope.
That's a fair question for anybody. Did you charge your batteries? Because nobody does. Not even the professionals. And if you're new to boating, aren't familiar with it, the battery starts the motor, and the battery sits for most of the year, gets used a lot, or sometimes for some of the year, and these batteries just go bad all the time. And you leave the lights on because the lights are really dim and you can't really tell, and so the battery goes dead. This is like, batteries are always dying. It's like the weak link in boating. And so the person that Steph called was right to start there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was right.
I've had some interesting feedback from people who've said that they've enjoyed the podcast, but don't know anything about boats, but they still enjoyed the podcast, and they said they might have learned a little bit too. So how about that? Isn't that fun?
Amazing. Is that your contribution to the boaty thing that happened to you in the last week?
What's something boaty that happened for me this week? I went to the first rowing practice for the team that I coach. It was not actually practice. It was introduced the new rowers to the boathouse where all the stuff is. The boats are, the oars, this, that, the launches. And then the experienced rowers all just kind of mill around, and I talked to them and had a good time. And it was downpouring rain, which is typical of the sport of rowing, especially in March, which it was. So that was roughly boaty. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like this is, to be honest, this is a little bit of like you cheating on your Thousand Islands boating life. If that, not to put too fine a point on it, but this is you not just coaching crew, but you're also getting into some funky boat that doesn't make a wake or something like that, and
Oh,
boating around some other river in some
yes.
other place, and like it's like cheater season.
And I take pictures of it and send it to you, and you're jealous. Yeah, I drive
Sure.
a wakeless launch, which is awesome because who needs wakes? It's like this catamaran with probably a 25 or a 15 horsepower motor on the back. It's like this catamaran, so it has two hulls. They're really long and skinny, and they slip through the water and they don't throw up a big wake, which is what is a big wake is a wave that the boat throws off. It goes basically it's the boat pushing through the water, pushing the water out of the way, and the water goes away from the boat in waves. That's what a wake is. And it's not good when you're rowing because if you've seen Boys in the Boat, you've seen probably the best like entertainment depiction of rowing ever. I haven't seen it, but my daughter has, who we'll hear from later, and that's what it's like. So you don't want a wave hitting your rowing boat. So,
But back to the point,
of
you get to
cheating.
get on the water like 2 months earlier than the rest of us because of your crew
So
coaching
wonderful. I
situation.
get on the water.
Created.
I'm on the water almost all year because I wrap up summer boating season and then I start coaching crew, and it takes me September, October into early November, and then I'm totally ready to get off the water at that point. And then in March, I'm back on the water coaching, and I'm totally ready to get back on the water then. And I love working with kids and being out in the weather and on the water in the boats. And the section of river that we're on, it's the Upper Schuylkill, which is a river in Philadelphia. We're near Conshohocken, so those are good words, Schuylkill and Conshohocken. And it's in an area that I'm long familiar with that used to be a bunch of steel mills and like just blown out industrial, but now there's condominiums, as happens in lots of places. There's also this cool couple of older industrial buildings that have been converted into boathouses for rowing, and it's a great scene. There's tons of wildlife. There's last fall there was an bald eagle that took up residence. There's heron all the time, migratory birds that I have to take pictures of and send to Steph because I don't know jack about birds, but she knows everything about birds.
No, not everything. A little bit. But I'm glad birds have come up because I'm a part of a group called the Bird Nerds, which is a bunch of Thousand Islands and other people who just send pictures of birds to each other like all day, every day. And so I want to make sure there's some crossover here between the Bodie Show and the Bird Nerds. So here we are.
Shout out to the Bird
always
Nerds.
Happy to see pictures of birds.
What Bird Nerds? That's probably not how the Bird Nerds talk. The other thing about the Upper Schuylkill, which we don't see a lot of in the Thousand Islands, there's 175 million turtles that are always chilling on logs in the sun along the side of the river. And you go past and they go bloop, 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 bloop. And I love it. I love seeing all the turtles.
The way you said that, it sounded like you were quoting an actual number, but now that the sentence is over, I realize you were not.
No.
Okay.
There might be 175, but not 175 million. I have been known to be hyperbolic. Okay. Moving on from all of that. We last time we talked a little bit about shoals. And you thought we should talk about shoals some more. So we're going to do a quick segment called On the Rocks. A segment devoted to shoals, running aground, and shoal stories. So the point of boating is to boat on the water, but sometimes the water is next to or on top of rocks, mud, and sand, and you hit those things. And it's generally not so cool. We talked last week, I think, about in other places there are you run into mud and sand, and it's not that big of a deal. And in the Thousand Islands where we boat, you run into big spiky piles of rocks that come out of nowhere. You could be in like 100 feet of water, and all of a sudden there's like a rock right there, which is pretty wild.
It's true. The reason that I wanted to talk about this is because I really like your self-created pastime of snorkeling on shoals and finding other people's propellers, which they left there by accident, and then refurbishing them and selling them on eBay. I think you should tell us about that. Tell us about that, Jeff.
That happened. So, yeah, my son and I, Walker, we started doing this a while back, just thinking like, hey, let's go snorkeling. There was a summer where it's probably the summer that you were complaining about how hot it was. And the water got really warm, and so we could go snorkeling for a long time. And so we went to a place that was interesting, lots of rocks and and sort of spiky formations underwater, these shoals that are out away from everything else. But we have this little inflatable boat. We run out, throw the anchor, put up a little flag, flop over the side, and check stuff out. And we didn't start out looking for salvagey stuff, but we were mostly looking for fish because that's Walker's jam. He loves looking for drum, which are a big bottom feeding kind of crazy fish, and bass, and that he wants to catch. He really wants to catch bass. But I found a propeller which had been torn off of a boat, or as Stephanie just said, left there by accident. And the first year we did this, we didn't really keep anything, but we found this propeller, and I stuck it up on top of the shoal as like a talisman, a warning, like a head
beacon.
On a beacon, or a head on a spike kind of thing. And people loved it. And one of my favorite things about that is it started to show up on Facebook, and people started arguing. Like, some people were like, it's been there forever. And other people were like, that's the first time I've seen it. And no, it's there every year, which I thought was pretty funny. And it ended up being part of a scavenger hunt. Anyway, what Stephanie's talking about is we found more props. We found stainless steel propellers from really expensive motorboats and hauled them out of the river. And some of them were still attached to like the like other parts of the motor. And this was just kind of like, wow, this is pretty cool. I don't know. And so Walker started cleaning them up, and we realized they weren't that damaged, especially the ones that were still attached to like other parts of the motor, because the other parts of the motor had taken the hit when somebody left it there by accident. And these things cleaned up. And so then we started thinking, wow, maybe we could sell them. And so we took them to a repair shop, and they filed out the dings and did whatever they had to do. And then we listed it on eBay, and we made some money. We made some money, Walker and I.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And probably the best thing that we did was we happened to have a friend who hits these shoals all the damn time. Like every 3 or 4 years, there's a phone call. Like, what are you doing? Nothing. You gotta come get me. I just hit the shoal. And it's like, why aren't these things marked any better? It's like, well, why don't you get a GPS, a global positioning system, to tell you where you are? And then that doesn't usually go over well in that moment. But our friend Mackie, he ripped the prop off his boat, and I got it fixed and sold it back to him.
Stone cold.
Yeah.
But also, it's also a service. So it's a service of its kind. I want to just close this out with one of a little tiny story about this related to all of this, which was, I believe, last summer or maybe the summer before. But I had my boat and a bunch of people in it, and I was driving from point A to point B, and I look over to the right, and I was like, those people are not where they should be. Those people are right where Shoal is. And then the people started waving their arms, and I said, oh no, we have to stop and rescue these people because clearly they are in trouble. and then we got closer, and it was you. You were just salvaging some shit and like on a shoal doing some propeller salvage, and I was determined that you needed to be saved. And we got closer, and the people who were on the boat with me were like, you're just a weird person. Like, I was like, we have to save these people. Oh wait, never mind, it's just my friends. It's just my random friend who's like diving on a shoal and trying to get propellers.
If you're interested in this story, scroll back through my Instagram feed. You can see the actual propellers that we found the before and after and all that. Yeah, and I remember that because I think you were helping somebody deliver a boat or pick up a boat that they just bought, something like that. And
it was Anne Flynn was involved. She's come up twice now in the podcast. Anne Flynn was there. She had some other people with her. Yeah. And we were like, we had to like stop that rescue mission in order to rescue you. But then it turns out you were not.
No. Well, and I was waving because I was so excited because I just found a whole lower unit, which is like the bottom part of the motor that got torn off. I mean, sorry, left accidentally on the shoal. And I remember holding it up over my head. I was like, look at this. And the people in the boat were like, what the fuck is going on? We never even really got close enough to talk. It was all like long distance enough, but it was so random and weird. You in those situations, you're excited, but you're also kind of like, you realize you're in over your head a little bit, and you're like, okay, you gotta get out of here. I remember you're like, okay, bye.
Gotta go back to the first mission.
Right.
See you later. Good luck with that.
Yeah. So, let's say that concludes our On the Rocks segment. Okay, everybody. That was On the Rocks. I want to do a quick floaty show, a show within a show, because you called the Float A people, friends who don't know they're our friends, and I call that stalking.
Fair enough.
But we've been corresponding with them, and we're about to put in a wholesale order, and we had a little session picking out floaties. I'm gonna say we're gonna go loon, beaver,
obviously,
denim tuxedo, denim tube, Adirondack chair, campfire cooler, and
moose.
I don't want to do the moose.
Really? Why?
There's no moose in the Thousand Islands. We get like one moose. You think people are going to like the moose?
Yeah. I mean, I just think that the moose, so for me, I love it's a combination of the stuff that I like. I just like the whole Canadian aesthetic as well as the Northern aesthetic. And I know that might be just me a little bit. I want, Canadian. bring me the Canadian vibes in addition.
You are a Canadian. Plus, you're a Canadian.
I am. I'm trying to become Canadian. Yeah, working on it a little bit every day. Anyway, yeah, that's a good outline.
Do you do exercises or something?
Exercises? Yeah, I just wear my curling sweater.
You did have it on earlier today when we pre-recorded an interview segment for our Younger Demographic Liaison that's coming up. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. We'll get moose. It's fine. We'll get moose.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Probably going to be like the hottest seller out of this. But we are planning some sales events, including the potentially a floaty stand, a boat farm floaty stand. And
which, to be clear, that's on the land, right?
On the land, yeah. You're making me feel bad about that because
no, it's just you got to have diversity. You got to have many access points.
I feel like you're trying to make me feel better because what's coming next is that your idea and what you're going to do, which is sell them from your houseboat on water.
Listen, this is a team effort, regardless.
Okay,
no, this is not certainly not one versus the other.
No, this is all team effort. Yeah, I don't know why I have to make everything competitive, but I do. I think selling them from the houseboat is going to be brilliant. We're going to get an air compressor and we'll blow them up on site, and we will probably go anchor in a bay where lots of people also anchor and like to float and drink hard seltzer, which will mean they are primed for a retail experience.
Right. Will you remind me to have our friend Eric make sure that the fuses are up to an air compressor situation? That's just like a little sidebar. Will you remind me about that before we blow up the houseboat by blowing up the floaty toys? That'd be great.
So once the batteries are charged, then we have to check the fuses before we blow up the floaty toys because we don't want to blow up the houseboat.
Right. We did that once already. The Sullivans were also involved in that. We blew up a floaty toy and then the houseboat didn't work anymore. But live and learn. See? Now look at how much we learned from that one experience.
Did you talk to Eric Masenko about the air compressor situation? or is it
Not well, yeah, he had to come fix the houseboat after the last floaty trip, but I haven't talked to him about this particular venture and the need for perhaps, what I would call maybe retail slash, sort of industrial necessity that could, he gets a little bit grumpy with me when I have like, needs on the houseboat that take a lot of power.
That's
he's
true.
like, easy, get yourself a French press kind of, vibes, But
you
but
had such a. Let's put it this way: Stephanie likes her coffee a certain way, and she wants it exactly that way, and she wants it right away. And you had a block on like you had to have an electric coffee maker on the houseboat of a certain kind.
I do.
And all the
I
men
mean, not really a certain kind. It's like the kind I bought for $1 at the thrift shop kind, but it's what I wanted, right? And everyone's like, get a French press, and I'm like, no, I don't know. It's a whole thing. But it worked great all last summer.
Yeah, it did. Everybody's saying go put in a big enough fuse for it. So we will.
Exactly.
Maybe we won't even plug the air compressor into the house, but we'll figure out maybe a generator or something else. Anyway,
good idea.
We're going to wrap up the floaty show, a show within a show, by saying that the order is in, and our friends at float-eh.ca, float a, our friends who don't know they're our friends. We're not stalking them.
No.
We're excited to go ahead.
It's a perfectly normal retail dynamic with a little bit of like, like front-loaded affection.
Yes. Front-loaded affection is. Yeah. All right. Cool. So we're going to move on to something that's it'll be a short segment, but listener comments. We've gotten a number of comments from people, and I wanted you to share a comment you got from our friend Reba, which I thought was fun. What did she say?
She said, I could listen to the two of you talk about snails.
Yeah. All right. So maybe we'll have a snail segment. That's snails. Snails are kind of watery. We're not going to do that right now. So listeners, please don't go away. We're not going to talk about snails. So next we're going to segue into our Younger Demographic Liaison segment, a segment that we enjoy because it gives us a chance to have some teen, 20 something, younger at this point probably also means 30 something folks join us and share their perspective on life and boating. So we'll go to that next. Here it is. Here we are. Younger Demographic Liaison segment.
Good stuff. We have some very special guests today. Should we let them introduce themselves?
Please.
I'm MJ, and this is Hannah. Hi. And we're excited to be here.
Great.
We're excited to have you here. So MJ, full disclosure, is Jeff's daughter.
Yes.
And you're coming to us with your friend Hannah from Colby College.
From Rockland, Massachusetts.
From Rockland,
yeah.
Massachusetts.
Where are you two right now?
Waterville, Maine. Yeah. Colby College.
At Colby College.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Jane and Hannah are a beautiful couple. I love them so much.
Thanks.
And Mary Jane sent us a beautiful comment a couple days ago.
Yeah.
She so we thought it would be a good time for us to sort of check in, bring in the younger demographic. But this comment brought me joy because she wrote, and I'm paraphrasing because I'm not looking at it, but she basically wrote, I'm really enjoying listening to you guys talk about boats. And when I'm listening to the show, it just sounds like the background of my childhood.
Yeah.
I think that it's funny because maybe people who are listening think that you guys are just like coming up with this content, like curating it, like this is a funny, like cool idea for a show and you wanted to make a podcast, but this is just the background noise of my entire life, probably. like you've been doing this for 20 years without recording it, with no like purpose.
Yeah. Other than our own entertainment, which is exactly what this podcast is.
There's probably been a lot of content generated that was never recorded.
Yeah.
No.
That's how this.
We could. Yeah.
That's how this came about because Stephanie and I were like, we bullshit like when I'm trying to work, call, whatever. and I'm like some gold in there. I just wished that other people could listen to it.
Right. But I left that comment because I was driving home from practice, and it was like 4 degrees in Maine and pitch black, and I was like tired and whatever. And I put the Bodhi show on, and then your voices were in my car, and it was so soothing. And I just had such a moment of like, I feel like I'm home, and I feel like I'm a kid.
Aww.
And
So
you guys
good.
you guys are talking about boats and shit in the background, and it was lovely.
So, want to tell us what you were practicing?
Oh, yeah. I'm captain of the crew team at Colby, but Colby is in Waterville, Maine, so the lake that we row on doesn't thaw until like mid-April. So I do a sport that involves being in boats, but you can't actually be in those boats for part of the year because everything's frozen over.
Because
So
phase change. Tell us how you get on the water earlier when the lake's still frozen, but you have an option. Because I think this is worthwhile. And there's some like particularities to it that are really just glorious.
This is so good. Dad loves this. Well, first of all, whoever was like, yeah, go row in Maine. I don't know who told me to do that.
You told yourself. You said, I want to go someplace that I can drive to that's really cold.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
I wanted to row, but I didn't really think about how, like, if I was in Florida, I could just be on the water all year. But we have a temp site because our lake doesn't thaw until mid-April, which is called the Messalonsky Stream. It's an offshoot of the lake that we row on it's like 4 minutes away from campus, and it goes under a bridge. And it's like 2,000 meters of just like stream.
it is a stream. It's not a river. I've seen it.
It's not a river. It's a stream. But it thaws a lot earlier because there's so much water running through it. Like the current's stronger. So because we can't get on the lake in April, we go to the stream, which is located directly adjacent to the cross-country ski course. And given that we are sharing part of our season with the cross-country skiers because there's still actively lots of snow on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
we store our boats in the snowmaking shed for the cross-country race course. And when we take the boats out of the snowmaking shed, we have to cross the cross-country course to get to the stream. So we're wearing boots, we're walking in the snow, we're up to our probably almost knees in the snow sometimes, and you have to stop.
Wait for the skiers to go by
before we can walk across the trail with our boat to go to the stream.
Just so you know, so rowing shells are like long and skinny, and so then they take a bunch of people to carry them. So Mary Jane's talking about carrying them out of the snowmaking shed, which has all the air compressors and water pumps and junk in it to like blow snow on the cross country course. And they carry the boat past a snowcat, and they have to stop, wait for the skiers to go past.
Well, and sometimes the skiers have to stop and wait for us. So the boat is like, however long, it's like
60 feet long.
8 people are carrying, and we like truck across the course, and then the skiers have to like stop and let us pass.
Oh, it's such a good juxtaposition. It's so good.
You know what this makes me think of is like I love the the moment where there's still skis on my porch, and then immediately the fishing poles start layering over the skis, you know? So I remember taking pictures of that and calling them shoulder season, but like your description gives a whole new kind of definition to shoulder season. Like you guys are just right in there together. There is no shoulder, just like crossing over.
No shoulder. Yeah.
And you're carrying the boat on your shoulders.
On your shoulder.
Yeah. True.
Shoulder season. That's
Okay.
great. So, Hannah.
Yeah.
You went somewhere this week that was exciting.
Can I ask Hannah a question? Because I know that she's been here to visit the river, which means I don't know how much boating you did in your life before MJ was in it.
Yeah.
But like, give us your reaction. Like you showed up here, and like how much time? Like how long did it take till you got in a boat once you first got here?
Oh, probably. I got there at night, I think I remember, which was weird because I like really couldn't see. I did come at night the first time, so I couldn't see the river. I couldn't really see anything. So waking up the next morning and like walking down to the dock and getting on a boat, I was like oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But I grew up, it's funny because I grew up around boats, but we never had boats. Like my mom grew up sailing and her family had boats. So I was really comfortable being on a boat and being in the water, but I'm never the one driving the boat or docking the boat or having any say in the boat. I'm just kind of there. And so that's the extent of my boating knowledge.
MJ.
Did I make you drive the boat?
I think you did probably once or twice.
MJ.
But I feel kind of like I'm a boat fraud because...
What? There's
No.
no such thing.
Let's hear it.
I think that I just let go of the wheel and said, here you go.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Because we were actively throttled down. And
Yeah.
I just gave her the steering wheel and you did good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
That's the right way to do it. What do you tell us more about this boat fraud BS? What?
Well, I don't know. I'm really comfortable around boats, but I don't know a lot about them.
None
Because
of us do, just to be clear.
Yeah. You're gonna trigger me on my like one of my like pound my fist things, which is the culture of like, oh, you must know all the things about boats in order to do the boating thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
I
no.
you guys talk about boats for my whole life, and I still don't know anything about
Yeah, right. 'Cause
10.
we're entirely full of shit in every way.
Right. Hannah, you're not a fraud. And
no,
you
I
need
went
to
to the Maine Fisherman's Forum. How
Yeah.
can I be a fraud?
no, tell us all about that. What is the
That's
Maine
so
Fisherman's
goody.
Forum?
So, for context, I'm an environmental science major here at Colby.
Mhm.
And so I'm in a marine fisheries management class this semester.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's really cool. And my professor, who is she's a Colby alum, played volleyball. I also played volleyball at Colby, so we're besties. But she is married to a lobsterman in Maine. He's a like first generation lobsterman.
Nor'easter.
So she's really involved in the scene. Also because this is what she studies and what she does.
What do you mean by
she's-
scene?
Huh?
What do you mean by scene?
Like
The fishing scene.
the fishing scene, like the not only knowing the fishermen and part of the fleets, but like she's more on the regulatory side.
Mm.
So she's just super involved. So she organized for her 2 classes. It was like an hour and a half ride, but we all went at one point over the 3-day forum.
Did you go down east?
What's that?
Did you go down east?
We did go down east. We went to Rockland, Maine,
Mm-hmm.
not Massachusetts, not
Nope.
to be confused. And we listened to some fishermen's stuff. And
What is that? What do you mean by fisherman stuff?
Like, I was like, what are you doing at the fisherman port? Like, you're just walking around. Like,
yeah,
there's fisher. And she sent a picture of a fisherman fit.
yeah, there was
Fisherman what?
there were exhibition halls. So there was like
A fit?
What's a fit?
a fit. It was
An outfit?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They were
This is why
so
you're the
cute.
younger demographic liaisons, because we're old and busted and you're
Yeah.
young and
But then,
know
but
stuff.
Then it's like, so you're just walking around, like,
No.
interacting with the fishermen? She was
No.
like, no, like, there's like seminar. She's like,
Well-
I'm in a scallop seminar
Yeah,
right
that
now.
was- the scallop regulations. And there was they were talking about shipwreck, like identification. I don't remember what they called it, but they located like 7 shipwrecks somewhere in Maine that overlaps with where the scallop fleets go out. And so they're asking Scallop. Yes.
Fleet. You say scallop?
I say what I say.
Scallop.
Oh yeah, Mary Jane, you're from Philly.
Hey, scallop.
Oh yeah, get some scallops.
Scallop. Anyway, sorry. Shipwrecks.
So we just listened to them talk about shipwrecks and the new regulations on
Wow.
Did you make any
systems.
fisherman friends?
I did make friends. I was wearing a Colby sweatshirt. And someone was like, "Do you go to Colby?" My daughter went there.
Was he
So-
a fisherman?
He wasn't a fisherman.
What?
I think he was just there enjoying. There were a lot of people there. It was massive. I was so overwhelmed because it
Sounds
was
amazing.
Like families and children?
families and
Oh,
children, but it
okay.
was like all of the regulatory stuff and then all of the actual fishermen there.
Mm.
And then there was like health screenings. There were skin cancer checks. They were doing a session about like
That's good community health
lobsterman
right there.
athlete, like
Yeah.
how to train your body.
That's good community health right there.
Wow.
Hey, wait. Go back to the fisherman fit. Hannah, tell us more about that.
Well, it was a mannequin who was wearing gaiters and a hoodie and some cool boots and stuff. And it was a booth and they were selling gaiters and boots and gear and hats.
Was there a lot of that? Or was there more than one booth or just that one?
There were so many booths. There was one, we were in like the tradesman exhibition.
Did you pick up on any sort of like fashion trends?
Yes. You could identify the fishermen from the
civilians
because they were all just in like ratted up hoodies and their boots.
Okay.
That's what I want to be wearing.
I don't know. I'm on FaceTime with you right now. That kind of looks like what you are wearing. I can't see your feet, but you're wearing a Carhartt beanie, a ratted up hoodie.
This actually all belongs to MJ.
Both of them are mine. Thanks.
Mary Jane, maybe your fit is not lumberjack as we've assumed all along. It could be Glousterman.
And we also got a correction on our pronunciation from another listener, just FYI. That's Gloucester, apparently.
Gloucester.
Yeah,
so last episode we discussed the nor'easter as like, how the hell is that still part of our vocabulary? Nobody else does that in any other area. Nobody else speaks like we were saying Glousterman, but it's what?
Gloucester.
Yeah. So that correction came from Christy Cattell of Boston area and Round Island, the famed Round Island. So thank you for that, Christy.
Thanks.
Yeah, she's one of the few on Round Island that I'll actually like take at face value.
Shade, more shade.
We're gonna make some haters for the pod.
No.
That makes a podcast.
What?
Combat in the comment section.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen. Our dozens of listeners have better things to do than to go to town in the comment section.
The comment section.
Yeah. Hannah, I would like to ask you a question.
Yes.
About being new to boating in the Thousand Islands. So you arrived at night. You drove across a bridge, and you could probably see something like there's a big body of water out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when people hear about this place where we boat, they hear river and they think, oh, like there's a bank on one side and a bank on the other and some brown water in the middle and, trees maybe. And it's different than that, right?
It's very different. And I grew up boating on the ocean in Massachusetts. So when MJ was like, oh, we're going to the river, I was thinking, oh, like a cute little banked river, boat around. And that was not what I was faced with at all when I arrived. Like when you get on the water, I had never been on a river where I felt like I was on the ocean, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'd ask, since this is the Younger Demographic Liaison segment, you've already helped us out with fit, outfit, and I'd like to ask a little bit about the younger demographic social scene out on the river. So Hannah, did you go anywhere with Mary Jane, with MJ, and go to like a party on the water or near the water?
We did.
Where'd you go?
I didn't tell you where we went.
Where did we go? We went to Bathtub Bay, obviously.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Oh, and Toby got us, us as in me and Toby, not me and MJ.
Right.
A double floaty, and we tied that to the boat, and we just floated around, and I was having the time of my life. But the water was too cold, so I had to hold
because she came in May the first time. So like early season cold. So it's either Bathtub Bay or Pirates Cove is on the other side, depending on which way the wind is.
These are bays on I think Grindstone Island, which is a big island in the midst of the St. Lawrence. What's the scene like?
Yeah, Picton, right?
Picton, sorry, yep. What's the scene like at Bathtub Bay or Pirates? Like when it's really
when it's popping, when the scene's popping is what we would say.
When it's popping off.
Yeah. What's it like? What do you see? Who's there? What are they doing?
Oh, when it's popping off. You pull up and we're all young and broke, so like our parents' boats or our scary boats that we purchased for ourselves.
Yes.
And you wrapped up and someone throws out an anchor, hopefully someone who's competent in that department. Which there's varied like nautical ability because anyone can just hop in the boat. You can load all your friends in the boat who have little boating experience, and then there's the people that like can figure out the rafting and the anchoring and the shuttling, And then there's sometimes passengers.
Okay, well that's all like okay, that's boat stuff. But like, what's the social scene like when it's popping? When it's popping.
Of the Poppin boat scene is that while we're there on the boats and just floating around in the water, everyone's planning the next boat adventure. Is what I noticed. Continual, like, okay, right now we're gonna hang up. Maybe this is just MJ and the way that we are, but she's like, okay, we're chilling on the boat right now, and we're gonna hang out here, and then maybe we'll go back and eat and shower, and then we'll do a sunset cruise. So it's like we're on the boat, but when are we gonna get on the boat again?
Yeah.
Or where are we going in the boat next?
What have you been in Bathtub Bay on Picton Island, which is it's a shallow sandy bay. People stand around and up to their waists, and they raft their boats up and play music, and that's a familiar scene to lots of people in different parts of the country, but different parts of the world. What is there anything ever crazy going on there when it's popping off? What?
Bro, it's crazy when the old people show up.
Say more about that.
Like, we're all just hanging out. We have music playing. We're, like, swimming. We're rafting up. But then there's, like, some, like, regulars to Bathtub Bay who pull up who are very... Well, I mean, there's the twerk boat, obviously.
The twerk boat, right.
Which is... I was kind of dancing around that topic. We'll just show out.
I think your dad was digging for that topic.
Well, I would not necessarily that topic, because I think that's its own thing. And we could probably devote an entire show to it.
But I think that there's sort of there's some like lore and some really like intense energy from some of the older generations of boaty people who hang out in Bathtub Bay, who like, that's like their thing. They've been doing it forever. They have this like crazy energy. Like, they're older, so they have like really nice boats with crazy speakers. And it's like so funny to like be there with you and all your teenage friends and then be interacting with like a 40-year-old dude who's like bumping club music from his whatever speedboat. like when else is that gonna happen? Can you name a other scene where there's just like a group of teenagers hanging out, a group of 40-year-olds hanging out, and then there's like an intersection of those two things?
Yeah, I can't think of another.
Maybe a concert. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. That's a beautiful thing. When they're there and it's bumping, like, do you end up in conversations, right? Like, you're talking to people.
Totally. Yeah.
It's not just parallel play. You're actually interacting.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, everyone's like waiting around in the water, so you end up standing in groups with people, and I mean, there's always old dudes who want to chat. So you like be nice and chat and then run away. And then you put on your snorkeling mask and then
that's how you handle the situation?
Yeah.
That's a great escape option.
Because you go underwater, or you just like
stay
standing
underwater?
Well, just like the mask itself is sort of a deterrent.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. It makes me think we should carry those around all the time.
And you have on a snorkeling mask, you can just like plunge underwater and disappear, and they won't know where you are.
Such a good idea.
Interesting.
It really says "leave me alone," doesn't it?
It really does. Like, you can really say that more clearly.
Now, have you brought the snorkeling mask into the rest of your life as a dude management tool?
No, there's other tools. I have a fake front tooth.
Yes, you do.
And it's there. There's a long saga to the fake front tooth thing that
it's not very boaty, so we don't have
waves of like whether or not I have to take it out when I eat, whether or not it comes out at all. But right now, it's on a retainer that comes out whenever I eat and whatever. But I told Dad this. I've gotten into the habit of like. And not so much at Colby, because it's, like, pretty safe here. But if I'm walking around at night and I feel a little uncomfortable, or, like, I see someone I don't like, that guy's kind of sketchy or whatever, I just palm my retainer so I have no front tooth. Because, like, if somebody tried to approach me and talk to me or be a creeper, and I smile at them and I have no front teeth, like, they're going to leave me alone. Like, I feel so safer. So I think maybe we should employ that as a tool of defense for our young women.
Such a good idea.
Like front tooth removal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's horrifying.
Actual teeth.
Yeah, I mean,
legendary.
Because like he's not trying to fuck with me when I'm like, oh hi. I am.
Hannah's like, oh, more of that. Yeah.
Bring it.
Yep. Mary Jane, would you tell me along these same lines about your other technique that you hope to like not ever have to escalate to, but you will when you're at the gas station?
Oh. I don't know how we got on this topic. This is so not Bodhi, but I feel like it's life related.
You could also use it in Bathtub Bay if you didn't have your snorkeling
true.
mask. If you didn't have your snorkeling mask, you could use these same tactics.
So my freshman year of college, we were going skiing at Sugarloaf Mountain, which is like an hour away. And we pulled into this like gas station in this tiny sketchy town. And I was filling up my car with gas. And this lady pulled up next to me, and she was also filling up her car with gas. But then there was a woman sitting in the passenger seat who makes direct eye contact with me and licks the window from the bottom to the top.
From the inside of the car?
Crazy look in her eye. And I was like, oh my God.
That's amazing.
I was filling up my car, and like direct eye contact licks the entire window. And I was telling Dad this. I was like, I can't think of something that would be more like unnerving in that situation. Like that is exactly what you need to do. Like she knew what she was doing. She made me so uncomfortable with her actions, and she like good on her. I don't need to use that more.
So I think, Mary Jane, that the next time you're in Bathtub Bay and you can't find your snorkeling mask and there's a bunch of dudes with bumping club music and like, you know, and their board shorts trying to chat you up, that you could employ this perhaps with the windshield of the boat.
I was gonna say
the boat itself.
It could look anything, right?
Danger.
Absence of windows.
Yeah, but I think if you're making eye contact, like out of the side of your eye, you're looking over there and you're like licking the back or the outboard motor.
I don't know. It's risky.
Yeah, it is. That could go either way.
Yeah, there might be people who are into that.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
No.
Depends on how crazy you can get your gaze.
Yeah. Or you could like.
I think for the most
bug
part,
eyes.
Snorkel mask plus.
I think for the most part, I think we just need to get some like really good water guns.
Yeah.
Like super soaker action, like that. The bazooka super soaker you had, like that'll hit you. Like you get someone in the chest with that thing, like
That
die.
that'll mess you up. That'll mess you up. I don't know where that went. I have a lot of those that I used to have and I can't find anymore, but I've been looking on eBay for those things because they're all kind of banned now.
What?
Yeah.
I have such childhood memories of us like lining up in the front yard to get shot by the bazooka.
The water bazooka. It was this big squirt gun. You pumped it up and then it like one shot of like high pressure water came out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I took the safety. There was like a safety valve on the end that I took out and got it all tuned up. Yeah. All right. Listen, team. This has been a wonderful segment. Younger Demographic Liasons. Please have a great day. Hannah, MJ, Stephanie, you have anything to say to wrap up with them?
Just thank you for all the knowledge. I'm never look at a snorkel mask quite the same way again. I'm just gonna well done. Well done.
Hey, Stephanie, you keep one in your purse now.
It's already there.
And you're at O'Brien's playing pool. And you can whip that out. Put it
Like nobody's gonna know how to respond to that. It's like the
So good.
You put on a snorkel mask and like jig away. Like actually, what are they gonna do?
Just out.
Yeah.
So good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, women, ladies. We really enjoyed having you.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll play you out. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, coming back from our Younger Demographic Liaison segment. That was wonderful to hear from MJ and Hannah. We have a lot of submissions for boat of the week this week.
That's exciting to see.
Yeah. You want me to go through them?
Yeah, you better do that. I'm with you though. I'm just pulling it up.
Okay. First boat of the
on
week.
The Instagram.
First boat of the week is from my friend Sarah Stanton, colleague of mine. It's a straight up freighter. Straight up freighter on the Delaware River, and we know freighters because they go past us on the St. Lawrence Seaway. It's a topic of much excitement when the freighter goes by. This looks like a freighter actually that I would expect to see on the St. Lawrence because it's what's known as a break bulk freighter, and Stephanie taught me what this is. So containerization is how most cargo gets shipped. Like a shipping container, a big steel rectangular box gets stacked on these freighters or, in and on. And then there are freighters where it's like full of like just bulk stuff like gravel or grain or something. And this is one of those. And it's nice. It's blue. It's probably a couple of football fields long. It's pretty big. It's got a white house. Some nice graphics. There you go, Steph. That's our first boat of the week.
I mean, let's talk about it, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to ride on that? Looks delightful.
Yeah.
Nice and steady. You'd barely feel the wake at all. There's probably all kinds of space. I don't know how long I'd want to be on it, but maybe, for a nice ride down the river. Could see it coming some maintenance issues. I could see it being a little bit of a bear to store in the winter. But
when you call somebody like, hey, will you put my freighter in? And they're like, well, did you
charge for the battery?
It's probably not their only concern.
Yeah, but Sarah, very nice submission. It's got it's got a lot of interest. It's not like anything we've seen before on the show.
No, yeah, it is a boat.
It.
We defined a boat in the first episode. Something you can use to go from point A to point B on the water without necessarily getting wet. You can get a little wet, but anyway. All right, that's that. Next one is from our friend Kimberly Murphy. It's a 2021 Duffy Bay Island 22, and it is like a Surrey top. So it's like a long, low white hull with like a cabana roof on top of it. Like if you're at some fancy pool in Vegas and you got your bottle service and you rent like a cabana, it looks like that on the water. I've never been in.
That's what I like about this one is there's nothing functional about this boat. You look at this and you're like, that's a boat just to have fun on. That's it.
Oh, okay.
It's just for fun.
That sounded,
don't you think?
Yeah. And that sounded a little backhanded at first. There's nothing.
No, but
functional.
You know what I mean? As we all know, there's a lot of different functions. This one does not say work boat.
No, this does not even say like hobby boat. It's like just like laying about and probably drinking boat. Certainly drinking.
This is leisure vessel.
Leisure vessel. And how do you like it?
Well, I do. I like.
You told me before.
There's something a little down easy about the line there, and
you're being disingenuous because before we started the show, you said you didn't like it.
Well, I don't think it's my pick, but I mean, I do like it. Anyway.
You're being politic. Why are you being so own your position? Are you worried that Kimberly's going to be upset if you don't like her boat of the week submission?
I think I would say it differently. I would say that upon returning to look at the boat again,
you're not on the witness stand.
It's growing on me.
Oh, okay.
I like it better now than I did a couple hours ago. I'm not sorry. Now I'm like, I wouldn't kick it out of my boathouse. I don't know.
Wouldn't kick it out of my boathouse for eating crackers.
That's my position. I like it. It's not my top pick, but I like it.
This is one of those boats you're like, man, I wish one of my friends had that.
Yeah, right. Boat stable, boat pool.
Pool, right. You want co-op, syndicate. Oh, we're going to talk about a syndicate at some point. So thank you, Kimberly. Next one is what? Did you give your opinion? I love
what
these.
Do you think?
I love these. It's like a giant diner booth with shade, and you're just chilling, and there's cup holders. It's like just like sliding around the water in a living room.
All right.
Which
you like it? Good.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, I've always loved these. And my ex-boss, I'm sorry, Brian, and his wife need to get one of these. I'm going to make sure they listen to this. Britt and Brian, you need to get a 2021 Duffy Bay Island 22. You need to put in a lift on that dock you have that you don't have a boat on, and you need to cruise around the East River and have a good time on the Chesapeake Bay. All right? Call me. I'll get you hooked
Quite the
up.
plug.
Yeah. I've thought that for years, that's what they need. And so I'm in a way playing Boat Yenta, which is a role that you actually invented.
Did I invent that?
Boat Yenta? Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I couldn't remember who did, but yeah, that's an important concept.
Next up, Ryan McKinley submitted a 2004 Safe Boats fully refurbished, $255,000. It looks like an ex-Coast Guard boat, 2 outboard motors on the back, and like a big steel or aluminum cabin, and bright yellow foam collar all around, looking like it's going to pull you over.
Well, I mean, I understand the appeal, but I just have I don't know. I'm not crazy about the whole workboat thing. I feel like everyone's getting like metal workboats now. And to be clear, I have not been driving one. I haven't tried driving one for a summer, and I might fall in love with it, and I'm totally on board. But I don't love being all locked up in a cabin either. Like, I just like a little open air with my boat. So
there's a lot of room.
I like it a lot.
There's a lot of room for dancing on this.
There's a lot of what?
There's a lot of room for dancing on this.
There is. I wonder how the sound system is on a Coast Guard vessel.
Yeah.
Don't know. Well, I mean, I hats off. I respect it.
Okay.
I respect it. It's very expensive, but and for me, price is part of. I don't know how much the tanker was. I'd be curious to know. I'd like to know that.
Yeah, it's like it's not even like price; it's value. Like given what given what you're going to do with this, how much are you going to pay for it? I'm not going to have $250,000 worth of fun in that thing.
Right. Exactly. I agree. Although I would say it would be very fun to drive, wouldn't it?
It would. I'll bet.
Especially in the late fall.
You're just blasting around and it's throwing spray, and you're inside a cabin with heat.
That thing would get this my boss and I all over the river, as in any weather, as quickly as we needed to get there. I would appreciate that about this boat a lot.
All right, last one. Ryan McKinley submitted 2. He's only going to get 1 slot this week. The other one's a wooden boat, which I have just right out of the gate. I am dismissive of because wooden boat. Oh, everybody. Anyway, I don't need to go into that this time. From Sarah McKinley, we have an 1955 Aerocraft P12. It is a little red aluminum hottie, simple. It's got a Evinrude, probably 10 horsepower on the back, and just bench seats, cool trim, cool graphics, really sweet 50s aluminum skiff. Nothing to it. And there's a lot to be said for a simple boat because like this thing doesn't even have a battery to not charge. No, pull start.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. Huh. You don't believe me?
Okay. No, it's not that. I just hadn't thought about that. I've been putting things slowly together in my brain. But I would say, for some reason, I can't get the picture to pull up, but I did look at it before. It is so delightful.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this boat. I love the way it looks. It's a lot like my son Sam's little metal boat, which I happen to know rides really nicely. And, it's not for every situation, but you'd be amazed. Like it does a really good job. And like, I don't know, I love it. And I love the value. Again, it's very inexpensive.
Yeah.
This is my pick. It's super hot. It's a great value. It would get you around the river. You'd have a lot of fun on this boat.
Yeah, it's listed on Facebook Marketplace. It's in Schenectady, New York for $1,595. It looks like a labor of love. Looks like it's on a good trailer, which is another big deal. You don't need to slip or anything for this kind of boat. And you can just get on the water for, you know what? It's my pick too. 1955.
Well done. Well done, Sarah.
P12. Well done, Sarah McKinley, winning boat of the week. Thank you very much for the submissions, everybody. Keep them coming. And we will we're gonna go with our last segment, listener questions. We have one of our listeners actually live with us today. Hello, Melissa.
Mm-hmm. Hi.
Welcome to the Bodie Show. All right.
Thank you.
Full disclosure, Missy's my wife of many, many years, and but not too many. And she's been like holding out. She's had a question for some time that she has been holding out and holding back. So ask away, Melissa.
Which shoal and or group of shoals do you find most difficult to navigate or treacherous?
On the St. Lawrence River in the Thousand Islands.
Those are the only shoals I know. I don't know. Are there shoals in other places?
Yeah, shoals everywhere.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
In the Thousand Islands.
Which shoal or group of shoals do we find most challenging to navigate in the Thousand Islands, which is a giant river that drains Lake Ontario in upstate New York on the border between New York and Canada? I encourage everybody who's listening to look it up, but don't come visit because Stephanie will be upset if the traffic gets too bad.
I think I have my answer to that question, but I bet we have different answers.
Go.
You know how you try to go to that really good restaurant, the Ivy, on the backside of Wellesley? There's
Yep.
shoals over there that I don't understand, and I always get nervous because it's on the Canadian side. And like, there's some you can see, but then there's that crazy whole like Canadian Channel situation, which is really hard for me to understand. And like, I get nervous over there.
What do you think of that, Missy?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I never drive there. So
The Ivy's a cool restaurant on the Canadian side of the river. And I've only been there once, and I'm kind of also perplexed by that. Most difficult to navigate around. Off the top of my head.
yeah.
All right. I'm just gonna let it flow. I probably get the most stressed when we're going through the International Rift, which is a tiny little channel between Wellesley Island on the St. Lawrence and Hill Island on the St. Lawrence. Wellesley is on the U.S. side of the border, and Hill is on the Canadian side of the border. And the rift is this tiny little crack of a channel that goes between the two. So narrow that at one point you could almost jump across. It's not actually that narrow, but it feels that way. Put it this way, like two boats can't really pass each other in this thing, and there's a ton of current that rips through it. So it's like super fun. Anyway, on the approach to that, there is like this mud flat area where some rocks stick up, and every time we go through there, I may seem like I know what I'm doing, but on the inside, I am holding my breath and really trying to just stay calm because it's marked like the whole thing's marked like 0 feet on the chart, and you just go through.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
All right. So those are our answers to your question. Do you have any other questions?
I do.
Ask away.
Part 2 of that question.
Okay.
Why do people get so pissed off about shoals not being marked or being marked wrong?
Oh.
In their opinion.
Because they just hit something and they have to be pissed off about something.
Because they've left their propeller there by accident.
Our newest euphemism.
Yes.
For when you smack a rock. Yeah, I know, but it is true though. This is really ticking up some other stuff for me. These questions are good. Like it's a really good point. Used to work for Save the River. They did all the shoal marking, and people are like, don't pay attention to it till they hit something, and then then there's a lot of you didn't do it like that, did you? Kind of conversation that goes on.
Yes.
And I want to emphasize that shoals are not formally hazards to navigation that are required to be marked by the Coast Guard or anybody outside of shipping channels. And so, like, it's sort of like you go for a walk in the woods and you trip over a rock and then complain about somebody not marking the rock. Like, literally. Like, so.
But what I was thinking of really was the shoals are marked on the one end.
Oh.
The shoals are marked on one end, but the rock is actually in a different place. And
Yeah,
a lot of people don't realize that, so they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to hit the marker." But then,
a shoal has a buoy next to it with like maybe some orange glowy tape, so you can see that there's something there. And this organization Stephanie just described, Save the River, has a volunteer program to put these buoys out next to these rocks so that people don't hit them as often, tear off the bottom part of their motor, and dump a bunch of oil in the river. And it's a very laudable program, and we're grateful for the people that volunteer their time to go out there and put these buoys in place in the spring and pull them out in the fall. And the buoys get placed on the downriver side of the shoal. Which way is downriver, Missy?
Oh, shut up.
What do you mean? Why? What did I say?
It's one or the other. All right. Downriver is closest to the ocean.
On the St. Lawrence, yes.
Okay.
But not all rivers go to the ocean.
Was this a trick question?
No. There's upriver and downriver. And so...
I just told you.
Okay, yeah. And you answered it correctly. So...
Can I get the yay?
You can get the...
I think those were some really good questions.
Those are very good questions.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You get some... There you go. A little applause for Melissa. Thank you. All right. We have questions, a bunch of questions from our friend Julia Purcell.
Oh, I can't wait.
Is it spelled flotilla, Flotilla, or flotilla, Flot, no A, Illa? Doesn't the first make more sense?
When you're right, you're right.
I'm going to nominate this as an alternate spelling of flotilla. There should be either. So yes, it does make more sense. Thank you very much, Julie. We're going to answer that question straight up. Plus,
So can I ask a question? Like,
Yeah.
does the word flotilla in its normal sense, does it mean boats?
yeah,
So maybe flotilla with an A is when we're floating outside of our boats.
flotilla, FLO with no A, is a bunch of boats. Flotilla is when we're in our Canadian floaties, when we're astride the water saddle.
Right.
Astride the water saddles next to the boats. There you go. That's the answer. So a flotilla.
Now we have two words that mean two different things that are both useful in their own way. Thanks to Julia Purcell.
Thank you,
done.
Julia. Thank
well
you.
done.
Thank you. I can't reach the applause button. Plus, what makes a good one? What makes a good flotilla? How many boats tied to one anchor is too many?
Oof, man. Now we're getting into it. Can we just say like it depends on the wind on that one? Can we just like go with a safe answer?
No.
Then you have to answer it.
Oh, oops. So I'm going to say more than, I'm just going to assume you've got a decent anchor with some chain and a rope and stuff, right? And you've got the anchor hooked into the bottom pretty well. All right. I'm going to assume that's a good anchor job. Too many boats would be, you got one in the middle with the anchor out, one on either side, one on the other side. More than 6 boats, 7 total. So one in the middle, 3 on each side. So more than 7 total boats is too much.
Okay.
Doesn't matter
That's
how
very-
big.
that's a very
Doesn't matter how
concrete
big,
answer.
how small. Because after that point, like when the whole thing starts swinging around, if the wind changes, there's just too much going on. Plus, like if you're on one boat on one end and you got to get something from the other boat on the other end, like you don't want to be going across more than 7 boats to get your stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be better off taking your floaty around, really.
Yeah, exactly. All right. She has a number of questions. We're going to answer them all.
All right, we better breeze through them here.
How do we feel about the poker run? Charged topic. The poker run. So there's this boating event called a poker run where people will get together in speedboats or on jet skis, and they'll travel from one place to another, and each place they pick up a card, and it's not a race, but it's kind of a race. And at the end, they'll go to 5 stops, and whoever has the best poker hand from that, quote unquote, wins. And it's really an excuse for people to like go around from place to place on a body of water and have a good time together for a whole day, and then hang out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we might need to expand on this. I don't know if we can do this justice right now, but I do feel like her question, deserves at least a little bit of an answer, which is people feel strongly in both directions. I think we can talk about our own reaction, right? Like, so, my favorite story is about a guy who, we were having a big debate about this in a sort of a professional setting. And it was his turn to talk and give his opinion about whether they should be banned. And somebody was like, Fred, what do you think? Fred, what do you think? Fred. And he just looked and he was like, you know what? I don't really care how people enjoy the river.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really great little moment. It's just a great moment.
Yeah.
I think that, I think there's upsides and downsides.
I don't see a lot of downsides. And I know that could be controversial with some people who, they don't like how loud they are, how fast they go. speaking of the speedboat poker runs, there isn't a poker run every day. There's a poker run like on a couple days of a whole season. And it's a pretty big river, and there's a lot of room for everybody to enjoy it and get along and spread out. I mean, we're not talking like a poker run in your backyard. So, live and let live. There's a lot of different ways to enjoy the river. And if that's how people want to do it, then on that, I want to just thank you all very much. All a dozen of you, couple dozen, 2, 3, for listening to this. It's been really fun to make this and then hear from people that they're enjoying it and hear people's ideas for making it better. Don't you think, Stephanie?
It's been so fun. Absolutely. It's the best. Everyone has been so supportive and so great. And the back and forth and the dialogue about all this content when we can't actually do any boating has certainly lifted my March spirits. So yeah. I agree. Thank you, everybody.
March is when you're jonesing. With that, again, super grateful for everybody for enjoying and letting us know what you're enjoying. And we're going to play a little bit more Matt Sullivan. Check him out at Matt Sullivan Music on Instagram. And if you're in the Columbus, Ohio area or anywhere near it, please go see him.
See an old man riding an older beast, road weary and my hope is gone. Was happy to see the setting sun.